And number 10, her skincare scam. After Millie posted a video to her Instagram pretending to use a range of her skincare products in a tutorial video, many people would come for the star and point out that by the end of the video, she still looked like she had makeup on and she didn't even use the products to remove her makeup. After the video was met with some large amount of controversy, Millie would take to Instagram to apologize to her fans by saying, "I'm still learning the best way to share my routines as I get to know this space better. I'm not an expert. I thought that doing a quick video replication of my personal process for the night was okay, but that's not what was conveyed." She then added that she understood and appreciated all of our feedback and encouraged us all to share her thoughts. Despite her asking her fans to share their thoughts, she would then disable the comments on her video. Now, Millie hasn't been the first celebrity to lie about using skincare products, which is why a lot of the internet came for her, as they felt like she should have learned from other celebrities' mistakes. But considering Millie was still a child, you should all go easy on her because she's truly doing amazing things here at such a young age. And number 9, her friendship with Drake. Fans for years have been saying Millie's relationship with Drake has gone way too far. So it's no secret Millie has had a good relationship with Drake. While Drake being 17 years older than her, people have been divided when it comes to their friendship, with some people believing that their relationship is harmless. Others have pointed out if they were 14 and they were friends with a 31-year-old rapper, their parents would be very uncomfortable about it. Many people on the internet have even come for both stars. Many have stated it made Millie appear like she could act older, and what she was actually doing was turning a blind eye to not notice Drake's odd behavior, befriending someone who is 17 years younger than him. When Millie first stated that she was Drake's BFF who texted all the time, I think we all raised our eyebrows, as it sounded wildly inappropriate for the adult rapper to have a relationship with any sort of teenager, especially one who is not in the music industry. While many fans have pointed out a number of red flags, despite Millie calling out their friendship, she fails to see the problem with the attention she is receiving from older men, and that's just something that's not sitting right with a lot of the internet at this moment. And number 8, David Harbour. When fans came forward to label Millie as a massive diva due to her having a bit of a mean streak, she also has been known to be pretty disrespectful to her Stranger Things co-stars. One incident people weren't particular about was when she had an incident with 47-year-old actor David Harbour, who was doing an interview with Millie. During the interview, David was trying to be sweet when he decided in the middle of the interview to compliment the young actress for her acting and general persona. However, instead of allowing her co-star to give her a little moment, she decided she would rather be the center of attention and started to make faces before finally interrupting David in the middle of his speech. Millie even hopped out of her chair to physically get David to stop his speech. David, being a good guy he was, just brushed it off. However, when he tried to continue speaking, Millie just continued on with her bizarre antics, and David just decided enough was enough, and he smiled the rest of the way through the interview. And he definitely seemed annoyed with her overall antics, and we all noticed. And number 7, the group interviews. Even the younger actors on the show Stranger Things have to deal with Millie's rude behavior on a number of different occasions, especially in interviews. Multiple online videos can show Millie talking over or interrupting the other cast members of Stranger Things when they did press tours or interviews together. As the interviews go on, you can notice the actors look understandably frustrated. While the actors will remain professional and they seem to get along with each other, it's hard to imagine that they're truly okay with Millie's rude behavior, especially when she cuts them off in the middle of their sentences. So the question still remains, why does Millie think it's okay to treat her fellow co-stars with such little respect, and why does she always try to cut them off so frequently? During the interviews, it seems like she likes to cut one of her co-stars off more than the others, especially when it comes to Sadie Sink. Millie has definitely liked to cut her off a little more than the rest. Despite the two claiming to be best friends off set, Millie's abrupt cutoff has reached a point where in one interview, another one of the show stars, Caleb McLaughlin, had to even ask, "Hey Sadie, do you want to talk?" And number 6, the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. I think we've all noticed that a lot of the Stranger Things cast has had enough with Millie and her odd, frankly rude behavior, especially when she chooses to overstep her boundaries during interviews as she tries to rush in and speak every second. Her co-star, Caleb, has also been receiving the end of Millie's tendencies to interrupt people. and it's made a lot of people come for the star, especially when it came to an incident that happened at the Nickelodeon Awards ceremony back in 2018. When Caleb, Sadie, and Millie went on the stage at the award ceremony to accept the Stranger Things award, the cameras would capture Millie shoving Caleb aside when it was her chance to address the audience. She decided she didn't want to wait for Caleb to step aside, and instead she took over the microphone as though there was no one around her, and her moves ended up making Caleb almost stumble and fall in front of thousands of people, and he definitely did not look impressed with the star. The overall move was really disturbing as well. We wish that she would have done better and just waited for her co-star to finish his speech rather than rushing things. At number 5, we have Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart collaboration with director Oliver Assayas in the film Personal Shopper was booed following a press screening at the Cannes Film Festival. Now, it's a certain perverse genius to unveiling a ghost movie at Cannes Festival that relies on the audience to deliver boos as the final credits roll. No one doubts what Oliver was going for in his Personal Shopper film, but it's clear that Cannes Film Festival can't handle ghosts. Now, after the audience had finished hissing and groaning during the credit rollout, Kristen Stewart would later laugh it off in a press conference saying, "Hey, everyone did not boo. Things like this do happen, but maybe if you don't like the film, write a review. There's no need to embarrass the creators at an event like a film festival when it already took them so much courage to show their work in the first place." At number 4, we have Drake. Drake received a cold welcome when he made a surprise guest appearance at Tyler the Creator's Camp Vlog Nah Carnival in Los Angeles back in 2019. Many fans in attendance were expecting Frank Ocean to be the surprise performer, so when Drake took the stage to perform a short set, fans were shocked. When Drake took the stage, he would say, "They told me to come out and maybe do like 2 or 3 songs for y'all tonight, but I'm gonna ask for your permission because I know this is your festival, and I'm gonna ask your permission if I can stay up here and turn up with you a little longer tonight. If you want me to keep going, I will keep going." The crowd then started to boo and scream no. Drake then, before exiting the stage, said, "It's been love, I love y'all. I go by the name Drake, thank you for having me." And then Drake would exit the stage 20 minutes earlier than he was supposed to. Many of Drake's fans would then even head to the internet to say it was a pretty painful moment to watch. Drake just wanted to vibe with you guys, and you ended up going 20 minutes without a show, so how did that one feel? At number 3, we have Kevin Hart. Take Kevin Hart's mistake and know it's probably not a good idea to mess with Crabfest attendees. To be fair, comedy can be a brutal industry. However, Kevin performed a stand-up routine during a crab festival in New York, and it didn't go well. The crowd at the crab festival was really enjoying their seafood, music, and dancing when the festival officials halted the entertainment to introduce Kevin's set. When Kevin went to make a joke, a lady in the audience would so quietly say, "No baby, no, just give it up baby." Hart would then go on to mimic it in a sad but gentle voice. Other people in the crowd would then start to yell, "Let us eat our crabs, we just want to eat our crabs," which became a polite way to boo him off the stage. I mean, you guys did book Kevin Hart to be there at the event, so that one definitely had to hurt the comedian. At number 2, we have Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber got booed at a Montreal concert after he did taunt Canadian hockey fans. Now, Justin Bieber definitely lost some fans in Montreal after the singer performed back in March during his Justice World Tour. The singer would be booed by the concertgoers after the pop star made some comments about the city's hockey team, the Montreal Canadiens. Now, if you've ever been to Montreal, then you know they take their hockey team pretty seriously. So you don't want to make the mistake as Justin did, or you might have to deal with some pretty die-hard fans, and it's never a good situation. Now, Bieber was on the stage, and it's like he almost forgot what city he was in when he expressed his love for the Toronto Maple Leafs. When he said, "How about those Leafs though, huh?" This immediately met the audience with a sea of loud boos and profanities, and some concertgoers even stuck up the finger. Justin then went on to say that Austin Matthews scored a goal against the Canadiens and that he was doing some great work in Montreal. Now, do you think Justin deserved to be booed for this one? And let me know in the comments below. And at number 1 today, we have One Direction. In 2013, One Direction was booed at the MTV VMAs when the group won a Moon Man for Best Song of the Summer for their song Best Song Ever. However, when the group took the stage, they would soon be greeted with boos from the audience over the result of the viewer-voted award. One Direction fans clocked in a total of 8 million votes, which pushed the band to the top of the category. When Styles said, "Wow, we want to say a massive, massive thank you to all of our fans. We know this is a voted award, so thank you to everyone who voted. It means a lot. Very much to us." They would then be met with some boos. Now I get it, Miley Cyrus should have won for her song We Can't Stop, but you all didn't have to be sore losers about your favorite song not winning the award. One Direction fans won the award for their group fair and square, so just let them have their moment and take to the internet later.
Number 10, Kanye West ranting about Kim on Skid Row. Kanye West definitely isn't known for being the most normal celebrity there is, but there was one moment in 2021 where the rapper appeared particularly tone deaf, even for him. Following a split from Kim Kardashian, Kanye had that period of time where he seemed to want to publicly ask her to take him back, including while giving a speech on Skid Row. Skid Row is the infamous downtown Los Angeles neighborhood known for its abject poverty and common violence. The rapper made an appearance during their Thanksgiving food drive for the less fortunate with Reverend Troy Vaughn, but while giving what was supposed to be an empowering speech to the homeless and poverty-stricken people who wanted to sit down for a hot meal, Kanye decided that was the time to go on a lengthy rant about how God wants him back with Kim Kardashian. While in front of groups of people waiting for food, Kanye made the incredibly confusing statement of, quote, "If the enemy can separate Kimye, there's going to be millions of families that feel like that separation is okay. But when God brings Kimye back together, there's going to be millions of families that are going to be influenced to see that they can overcome the work of the separation, of trauma the devil has used to capitalize to keep people in misery while people step over homeless people to go to the Gucci store." Even for Kanye, a billionaire telling one of the largest unhoused populations in the US that God would reconcile him with his estranged billionaire ex-wife to help their cause is a bit much. Number 9, Ariana Grande licking donuts. Back in 2015, the former Nickelodeon star was the picture of innocence and was quickly becoming America's sweetheart. But things took a weird turn when surveillance footage displayed Ariana licking a tray of donuts in a small California bakery and remarking, quote, "What the f is that? I hate Americans, I hate America." Apparently, her excuse for licking the donut was she was frustrated because of the rates of childhood obesity in America. But like, girl, you walked into a bakery. What were you expecting? Carrots? After the onslaught of backlash and a police investigation, the singer issued a video apology, quote, "Seeing a video of yourself behaving poorly that you had no idea was taken is such a rude awakening that you don't know what to do. I was so disgusted with myself." Well, it's definitely not the worst thing a celebrity has done. It's definitely one of the more confusing and out of touch things. I wonder if any of those donuts got sold to some unsuspecting customers afterwards. Number 8, the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial. The famous Pepsi commercial that made the rounds back on the internet back in 2017. While America was embroiled in protests and the exposing of the police force for brutality and blatant racism, Kendall Jenner thought that was the right time to crack open a cold, crisp Pepsi and tell everyone to just get along. While the rest of the world was fighting for equal rights, Pepsi released a commercial that put the reality star at the forefront of a pretty cringy moment where she was at the front of an unspecified protest citing peace and love with signs saying, quote, "Join the conversation." Kendall even bravely handed a Pepsi to a police officer in full riot gear. He drank it, and the entire crowd of protesters cheered and laughed and hugged in glee. Yay for equality. One YouTube commenter even stated, quote, "I find it amazing how they managed to offend so many groups of people and yet say absolutely nothing at the same time." Obviously, the internet was enraged, as at the same time this video dropped, protesters were being taken in unmarked vans by the FBI, and people were rightly angry at Pepsi for trying to profit off of the mass suffering of others. Kendall also swiftly apologized for appearing in the video, saying, quote, "I felt so fucking stupid. The fact that I would offend other people or hurt other people was definitely not the intent." Number 7, Justin Bieber and Anne Frank. While on tour in Amsterdam, Justin Bieber made a stop at the Anne Frank house back in 2013. While there, he wrote a message in the guest book that lit the internet on fire. The then 19-year-old Justin wrote, quote, "Truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer." It provoked fierce online criticism for Bieber, who was accused of making the museum dedicated to the horrific experiences of Jewish people during the war about himself. However, the museum itself defended the star, although they did add the comment that his comment, quote, "wasn't very sensible." A spokesperson for the museum defended Bieber on the BBC, stating, quote, "He's 19. It's a crazy life he's leading. He didn't mean bad. And also, it's nice that he made the effort. he didn't have to come. And I mean, for what it's worth, and if you know me, I'm the last to defend celebrities, I kind of get where he's coming from. If Anne Frank were allowed to live now, where she would be a normal girl doing normal teenage girl things, she would have been afforded the luxury of obsessing over a pop star like so many kids do. But sadly, she wasn't. And I think that may have been the point that Bieber was trying to make, albeit in a very tone-deaf manner. Number 6, Sam Smith having a meltdown. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that celebrities love to complain from their ivory thrones. Take Sam Smith, for example. During the strict times of the stay-at-home order, they took the opportunity to take pictures of themselves crying while sitting on the steps of their multi-million-dollar mansion, with the caption about having a meltdown because they were forced to stay at home. Meanwhile, New York City had to bring in emergency ships just to house the amount of bodies that had been overwhelming crematoriums to the point that they couldn't house any more victims of illness. Poor Sam Smith and their sad little life.
Number 5, Jamie Foxx. Stars witnessed Jamie Foxx get kicked out of a restaurant while he was assaulted at his table. Jamie was reportedly having dinner at the restaurant when a customer approached his table and complained to him that him and his friends were being too loud. When the group proceeded to not care, the person yelled, "You don't want to mess with me? I'm from New York." Jamie then fired back, "F you, I'm from Oakland." The person then began to charge at Fox, and some witnesses even said Fox began to fight back and took the person down. Both parties were eventually thrown out of the restaurant for their bad behavior. Number 4, we have Dennis Rodman. Charles Oakley had to once kick Dennis Rodman out of his steakhouse for eating off of other people's plates. Charles said he agreed to meet with Dennis at his steakhouse after the two made an appearance at a Miami event together. However, before he arrived, he got a phone call from his manager telling him to get to the location as fast as he could. When Charles arrived to the location, he looked through the window and saw Dennis eating, then moving to the next table and eating some more. Charles went straight up to Dennis and asked him what he was doing. Dennis responded by saying, "I'm relaxing and trying to entertain." Now, Charles clearly wasn't impressed with the star's action and proceeded to kick him out of the restaurant. He then told the basketball star to never come near him again, destroying their relationship off the court. What Dennis thought was a joke clearly wasn't, and he should have known better than to do that in a high-class restaurant. At number 3, we have Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was once kicked out of a restaurant after being mistaken for being homeless. Now, the Oscar winner was at the Laurie Prime Rib restaurant located in Las Vegas. In a video later obtained by The Sun, you could see the star sitting on the restaurant sofa in a drunken state. Now, it's easy to see why the restaurant would have mistaken the star first as being homeless, considering he was wearing cheetah print PJ pants and he had no shoes on. While waiting for the table, he was acting rowdy and proceeded to get into an altercation with the staff. Even after being escorted out of the restaurant, Cage continued to argue with the staff while trying to go back in. While Nicolas did ignore to comment about the incident, he did say his work did help him avoid getting into situations like the one at the restaurant. Number 2, Jenna Fischer. Now, Jenna actually wasn't kicked out of a restaurant in real life. However, her character Pam in the comedy show The Office was. It all started when Jenna decided to tweet a photo of her pictured in front of the restaurant where she asked if she should try to go in. Pam in the show was so tipsy she continually began to fall out of her chair and displayed some pretty rude behavior. It got to the point that the restaurant owner stated she was no longer welcome back at the restaurant chain ever again. Number 1, James Corden. Recently, James Corden was banned from a famous New York City restaurant after being a jerk to wait staff. The owner of the restaurant, Keith McNally, posted to his Instagram to state the comedian was effectively banned from his famous bistro after he became one of the most abusive customers to enter the location since it opened. So you're probably wondering what led James to be banned. Well, Keith detailed 2 examples of how the star misconducted himself at the restaurant, which led to his ban being indefinite. The first example is he was extremely nasty to servers, demanded drinks to come to his table, and that they be comped altogether. The second incident took place when James' wife, Julia, received her egg yolk omelet only to find that there was some egg whites mixed in. The omelet was then remade and brought back to the table with fries instead of a salad. James then continued to yell at the staff that they didn't know how to do their jobs. Eventually, the situation was resolved when the floor manager decided to step in. James has yet responded to Keith's allegation. However, if one thing's clear, he definitely won't be eating at this location for a while. At number 10, we have Britney Spears. After having a pretty public mental breakdown, Britney Spears made a spectacle of smearing food across her face in a restaurant. Britney was described as acting weird by fellow staff and celebrities present at the time of the incident. While sitting at her table, Britney started to play dress up with her dinner. While many were left feeling concerned and disturbed by the incident, the staff were quick to check on the star and escorted her from her table and out of the restaurant. Britney would then be later informed that she was no longer welcome in the restaurant or on the hotel grounds itself. Now, her behavior herself wasn't a sin or rude behavior, however, how she portrayed herself in public and how she never issued an apology for her actions definitely made some people raise some eyebrows. Luckily for Britney, after she cleaned herself up, the restaurant lifted its ban of 2 years, and she was later pictured celebrating her 28th birthday. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 9, Ariana Grande. Ariana once got banned for life from a donut shop after the star was caught on camera licking a bunch of donuts she didn't pay for. In 2015, the star entered the Wolfie Donut shop with some friends. When the clerk went to the back room, Grande would proceed to lick some donuts that she didn't pay for. Later, the owner of the restaurant watched the video and would end up banning her from the location for life. They would also go to try press charges against her. However, nothing ever went through with the charges because the incident would have only cost $4 for the donut she didn't pay for. The owner, however, was very upset with Ariana and said not even an apology from Grande would have caused him to change his mind. Unfortunately for Grande, the incident would have caused her a chance to be booked to play a gig at the White House, and she would later go on to make jokes about herself for the incident. At number 8, we have Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose was once kicked out of a bar in New Orleans for allegedly throwing fries at the waitstaff. The star was described by the owner as being a child because she threw a big tantrum in the middle of the restaurant. After she threw the tantrum, the staff booted her from the establishment, where she then started to curse out the bartender and even began to throw food at the staff member. Ruby later would write a Facebook post where she didn't deny throwing the fries. However, she did explain why she did it. Ruby claimed that they waited 60 minutes for the fries and over 90 minutes for food that never showed up to the table. When they asked the bartender what was taking so long, he offered Ruby and her table some free drinks. When the star told the bartender no thanks, she said he started to mock her and her friends. At one point, the bartender even told her to go call her sponsor, and that's when the star reacted to throwing a french fry at the staff member. Ruby would later say she regretted how she acted and maybe she wouldn't throw french fries again. But maybe next time the bartender wouldn't be so insensitive. Number 7, Stuart Raw. Not only has Stuart been kicked out of Nobu, but he's also been banned from the popular Japanese restaurant. Back in 2012, the New York Post reported that the billionaire was banned for life as he tried to bribe people to give up their table for him. He then continued to call the manager Sharon, demeaning names, while he was escorted out of the restaurant. However, the drama wouldn't stop there. Stewart would then send an email to Nobu co-owner Drew demanding that the manager be fired and seat some big name celebrities such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Alicia Keys, and Mark Wahlberg. This also isn't the first time the billionaire hasn't played well with others, as the star has allegedly started fights with Tiger Woods and has even been thrown out of a celebrity Hamptons party after being labeled a stalker. If we learned anything from Stewart, it's that just because you have money, it doesn't give you the right for a free pass. Number 6, Jamie Kennedy. Jamie Kennedy once helped save a woman in a car crash after getting kicked out of a restaurant in Houston. After performing at the Houston Improv, the comedian decided to head over to the Yard House for some drinks with his friends. However, the management staff at the Yard House had to ask Jamie to leave and proceeded to escort the star out of the building for using profanity with the waitstaff. After leaving the establishment without a fight, Jamie decided he wasn't ready to go home for the night and proceeded to head to a different bar. Around 2:40 a.m., when the star was walking to the next location, a car flipped over up onto the sidewalk where they were walking just 10 feet in front of them. Jamie and his entourage then proceeded to help the two women out of the smoking car.
Number 5, Gal Gadot's Imagine. Another top moment from the mess that was 2020. Although she wasn't the only celebrity to take part in this weird out-of-touch video, Gal Gadot was the spearhead of it all. In a mashup with tons of different high-profile celebrities who who all sang John Lennon's Imagine while locked inside their mega mansions, the moment was supposed to come across as heartwarming. Instead, people just saw these celebrities as not understanding the severity of what was happening to everyone around the world. Millions of people were dying, and Gal Gadot thought it was a good idea to preach peace and love while inside her heavily surveillanced mansion with a swimming pool and private chef. But like I said before, it wasn't just her. She also got Will Ferrell, Amy Adams, Natalie Portman, Mark Ruffalo, and Zoe Kravitz, among many others, to sing the song as well. Number 4, James Corden in a rat suit singing with Camila Cabello. Listen, I'm fine with celebrities doing their weird little things so long as it's over there where I don't have to see them. Kind of like a spider in my room that stays on the other side of the room and very far away from me. But when they decide to inconvenience people going about their day, nah, that's when it gets weird. Like for instance, one Los Angeles morning when James Corden and Camila Cabello decided it was a good idea to stop traffic in a city that's already known for insane gridlock and sing the song Can't Hurt You as a promotion for the new Cinderella movie that Camila stars in. James Corden was in a rat suit singing the song while everyone blocked traffic. Someone online even joked, quote, "Your husband just sliced the tip of his finger off making dinner and it won't stop bleeding. You're rushing to the emergency room and this happens. What you doing?" And then linked the video of James hip thrusting at a car in a rat costume. Number 3, Logan Paul in the Japanese forest. Okay, for this one, I'll say Logan definitely got pretty swift recourse after he published a video on his YouTube channel of him and his friends traversing through a forest in Japan that is known as being a place where people go to end their own lives. He and his friends had come across a body of an individual who had done just that and decided to film the body and themselves looking shocked while staring at it. The move was swiftly remarked as extremely insensitive, especially since it was monetized, showing that Paul got financial gain off of the immense suffering of others. His career was basically temporarily ruined over the video, although he's back now with a very successful podcast, albeit it's a bit more grown up. Number 2, Gwyneth Paltrow's life is harder than everyone else's. Gwyneth Paltrow is the queen of pissing people off. While she had a long history of saying things like, quote, "I'd rather die than eat cheese from a tin," she also managed to upset basically every mom by moaning about how her life is harder than everyone else's. Back in 2014, she told E! News, quote, "I think it's different when you have an office job because it's routine and, you can do all the stuff in the morning and then you can come home in the evening. When you're shooting a movie, they're like, we need you to go to Wisconsin for 2 weeks and then you work 14 hours a day and that part of it is very difficult. I think to have a regular job and be a mom is not as, of course there are challenges, but it's not like being on set." I think she failed to mention all the babysitters and full-time nannies and chefs she can afford to hire to care for her kids while she's off making millions of dollars. Number 1, Kendall Jenner and her cucumbers. Kendall Jenner once again has made herself known to be completely out of touch with reality on the new episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kendall insisted on cutting a cucumber herself while her mom seemed worried and asked her to ask the chef to do it. But she said no because cutting a cucumber is, quote, "pretty easy." Which it is, but not for her apparently. The model absolutely could not figure out how to properly cut a cucumber to the point where Chris stepped in and told her to get their in-house chef to do it for her. People online were calling it pathetic and tragic, which it absolutely was.
And number 10, we have Kim Kardashian. When Kim Kardashian took her son Saint to an LA Rams game, Kim was sadly met with boos from the crowd when her face was featured on the big screen. Soon after, a video would start to circulate on social media, which showed the crowd cameras first focusing on John Legend before cutting to Kim, and when the video cut to Kim, the crowd would start to boo in the background. Although the reason behind the booing was unclear, Kim decided to react to the situation in a cute, casual way. The star ended up looking up at the screen wearing a pair of signature huge sunnies and blew a little kiss while offering a small little wave to the crowd, making it such an iconic moment. Many fans were quick to call out the booing as it was a shame to see people boo her when she was trying to treat her child to such a beautiful gift. I mean, so apparently normal people can be shown on the camera, but as soon as Kim Kardashian is, it's no longer okay. Alright my little peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 9, we have Emma Stone. In October, Emma Stone and her husband, Dave McCary, experienced what it's like to be booed by fans who are loyal to the New York Mets. After the Jumbotron showed them wearing San Diego Padres attire to support the team, just as the Jumbotron operator promptly put up and held a shot of Emma and her husband repping the Padres gear, the crowd would erupt in boos, and they definitely didn't deserve it. So we all have our opinions on different sports teams, but isn't the whole point of the game about bringing people together to support our favorite teams. We seriously need to stop judging people for who they support, and we really need to start supporting the teams we like instead. However, even though the crowd did boo Emma and Dave, the San Diego Padres would later post a photo saying they were big fans of these fans. At number 8, we have Kendall Jenner and Kylie Jenner. It turns out that Kim wouldn't be the only one from her family booed at a Rams game, as both Kendall and Kylie Jenner got booed by the crowd after being shown on the Jumbotron. When the stars were enjoying watching the Los Angeles Rams in a Baltimore Ravens game in the VIP section, the camera would pan across their group. In a video shared to Instagram, it would show Kendall noticing her face on the big screen while blowing a little kiss to the chorus of fans booing. Mike Singleton would then later take to Twitter with a photo of Kylie and Kendall at the game on the Jumbotron and would say the entire stadium booed when Kendall and Kylie were shown on it. Now, the sisters have received a lot of ridicule from the public, but considering they weren't doing anything but watching the game, it was a straight up rude move by the sports fans. At number 7, we have Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift outraged a gaggle of fans when they waited to catch a glimpse of her after Abigail Anderson's wedding. TMZ would later post a video that showed Taylor exit the church, and it showed security going to great lengths to shield her from a bunch of kids and adults standing outside hoping that Taylor would grace them with her presence for a moment. It was only a 10-foot walk to the church to the waiting SUV. However, Taylor wanted to support her friend on her wedding day rather than playing catch up with her fans. So fans quickly went from being like, "We love you, Taylor," to booing, and some even chanted, "Very disappointing, not cool." But the only uncool thing was fans thinking it was okay to show up at a wedding uninvited and expecting the bridesmaid to show them some love. Celebrities are normal people and they need their space too, guys, so stop going to great lengths to try to meet them. It's just not right. Number 6, we have Cher Lloyd. It's hard enough dealing with the pressure of performing in front of a crowd, and Cher Lloyd definitely didn't deserve what happened to her at V Festival back in 2012. While the star was performing, she would leave the stage in tears after she was hit with 2 bottles filled with urine. As the singer would leave the stage, the crowd would ignite with boos. When the singer decided to return to the stage, she would tell the crowd it's hard enough being up here and it's not nice having bottles chucked at you. More bottles would then start to fly towards her on the stage, so she ended up canceling her show. Cher definitely made the right decision to walk away from the disaster rather than engaging with her fans, and it really makes you wonder why anybody would want to throw bottles of urine at someone in the first place. That's just disgusting and no one deserves that. At number 5, we have eating Pop Rocks. When Millie Bobby Brown gagged while eating Pop Rocks during a really funny BuzzFeed video, I think we all had a good laugh at the star. While her and her 2 co-stars in the video were playing with a bunch of toys and candies from the 90s, we really enjoyed watching them obsess over our 90s favorites, and it was such a throwback moment that it made us all miss the 90s. However, when the staff brought out the Pop Rocks, we were all shocked at the fact that Millie had no idea what they were. And you could definitely tell that she never tried them before, and it was really clear that she had no idea what they even were. So Caleb and Gatton graciously explained to her what the candies were supposed to do when they came in contact with her tongue. However, Millie decided to put too many candies in her mouth way too fast, and at one point she almost choked on the candy, and then she looked way too scared to even enjoy the candy for what it even was. The entire video was actually such an embarrassing moment for the young actress, as she actually didn't know any of the retro toys that were presented to the group, and the fact that she didn't know what Pop Rocks were and the way she did them was insulting to all 90s children. And number 4, the flat earth conspiracy. When Millie was just 14, she posted a video on TikTok where she addressed that the earth was flat, and a lot of people started to troll the star for her beliefs. When the star took to her social media to express her views on the shape of our planet, she definitely wasn't shy on speaking out about her beliefs. After sharing her thoughts about the earth being flat, a lot of people started to hate on the young actress. Many have even started to tease her on her own opinions. Now, a lot of the comments were actually pretty funny to read. Even though her views were expressed on the topic a long time ago, fans have continued to poke fun at the star for her beliefs. In 2018, Millie took to her social media for a live Q&A, and one fan then asked Millie if she thought the earth was flat. Millie would answer by saying, "I mean, think about it. I don't even know. I think I am. what do you call it? I think they call it a flat earther. So obviously she struggled with her words. Now jumping to 2022, Millie has admitted she doesn't believe the earth is flat any longer. However, her statement was definitely contradicting because she would go on to have doubts by saying, although I've never seen it, you know, when you're on the plane and sometimes you can see it, the curve, I've not seen that yet. And number 3, scared of bungalows. Even though Millie plays such a scared nothing character on the show Stranger Things, the star is secretly scared of bungalows because they really freak her out. While Millie appeared on the late night show with Stephen Colbert, she would say that they really freaked her out because it's a house with no stairs, and then she said, you have no place to escape, you're on one level. I don't know, I just feel safer with stairs. I don't run up the stairs fast, as I feel I could fall. But I like stairs around me. After that statement, every horror movie fan on the internet would definitely start to hate on Millie. So you think because Millie is working on a horror sci-fi show, then she would know the #1 rule when it comes to horror movies, and that would be never run up the stairs. It's funny that the star thinks that having stairs around her will keep her safe, and sadly the reality is that running up the stairs to avoid danger could only land you into some more trouble. Just take the Scream franchise for a second into consideration. Every time one of those characters tried to escape from the man behind the mask by running up the stairs, it always ended badly. But if she feels safe with stairs, then stairs it is. And number 2, the time she met Audrey Hope. Not only is Millie's behavior odd with her fellow cast members, but she also happens to be quite dismissive in real life. And in one incident, she ended up showing us all how dismissive she really was when she was extremely rude to a fan and fellow cast member. When Audrey Hope, a young actress, uploaded a video to the internet, she would share an awful story about Millie. And it would cause the internet to come for Millie because we couldn't believe how dismissive she actually was to someone who wanted to enter into the industry. Now, if you don't know who Audrey is, she worked as an extra on the season of Stranger 2. Her performance was so good as an extra that they even invited her to the premiere event with the entire cast and crew of the series. When she got invited to the event, Audrey was really excited and she really hoped she would get the chance to meet Millie. And since Millie entered into the industry, she always thought Millie was some sort of idol, and she was inspired to one day be a great actress as Millie. When Audrey spotted Millie at the event, she gathered enough courage to go up to her and ask for a photo. However, it didn't go as planned, as Millie took one look at her and walked off without even saying no. Instead, she told her she'd be back to take a photo, and Audrey ended up waiting a long time for her to come back. However, Millie never showed, and the internet was definitely not having it because she could have just said no, but instead she made her fan wait for hours just for a hope that she could grab a photo with the star. And at number 1 today, we have her fashion. Now, since Millie entered into the industry, many people have been quick to call out the star's fashion as they believed it's too mature for her age. One particular look that the internet was not fond of was her outfit to the 26th annual Screen Actors Guild. At the age of 15, the actress was one of the first megastars to hit the red carpet at the event, and Millie could be seen spotting a trouser and coat dress that was designed by Louis Vuitton. And it was truly a stunning look. The look was created by Louis Vuitton's team to help bring her vision of high fashion to life. While Millie's look was a fresh take on the red carpet, it would cause the star and her team to quickly come under fire, as many felt like the look was inappropriate for a teenage girl. On social media, Twitter users would then come out to say, Millie Bobby Brown's stylist should be sacked. She's just 15 years old, but looks 30 at the SAG Awards last night. So disturbing. Millie would then come out to defend her look by reminding critics that she has the right to choose what she wants to wear. Now, it's funny how people can say stuff about the star being too young, and you think because the star was only 15 at the time, people would stop criticizing her, but some people, mostly adults, felt like it was okay to insult her, which it definitely was not. So while you are entitled to your own opinions, maybe remember that sometimes things are left better unsaid, so if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
At number 10, Kanye West. Most people see Kanye West as a little too extra. He's caused scandals like his VMA interruption with Taylor Swift, his comments about George W. Bush, as well as many other instances that have just rubbed people the wrong way. To add to that, he's reportedly very hard to work with. During filming of Anchorman 2, Kanye came on set for a brief appearance in the film, and though he played a small part, he left a big impression on the cast and crew, and it wasn't positive. Apparently, after Kanye wrapped on set, he refused to leave. He could have just gone home after he finished his scenes, but he decided to stick around. That's fine if you want to stay and watch other people's performances, but that's not exactly what Kanye did. Instead, he hung around set blasting music so loudly that it disrupted filming. People tried to get him to just leave, but he wouldn't. I think it's safe to say that if a third Anchorman movie were to happen, Kanye just would not be welcomed back. At number 9, Lea Michele. Lea Michele was exposed in 2020 for her Hollywood mean streak and for her terrible on-set behavior. This all came out following a tweet from former Glee co-star Samantha where she let the world know how horrible it was to work with Lea. The actress is now described as, quote, callous, rude, mean, and even a diva. But following Samantha's exposure of the Broadway star, other people have come forward with their own testimonies regarding Lea and her mean streak. There have been stories of Lea's microaggressions, but also stories of her spitting in craft service food that she doesn't like, refusing to work with people because they didn't know her middle name, requesting reshoots because she didn't like her costume, disrespecting other castmates, and having crew members apologize on her behalf, and so many other frustrating tidbits that just really show how rude and entitled she's been known to be. No one wants to work with her after learning about how much of a nightmare she can be on set. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who are just the worst people to work with on set, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Julia Roberts. Even though Julia Roberts seems like a nice person, it turns out that she's a nightmare on set. Ironically, she's almost always cast as nice and endearing characters, but there's seemingly much more to Julia than meets the eye. Apparently, she's known to have a pretty bad attitude on set, which can make working with her an unpleasant experience. In 1991, on the set of the Peter Pan film Hook by Steven Spielberg, Julia earned the on-set nickname Tinkerhell as a play on her character Tinkerbell. She earned this moniker based on the production staff's perception of the actress. Apparently, during filming, she would constantly show up to set late, and even when she was on set, she would lock herself in her trailer for hours on end. She also reportedly treated people badly, and she would never apologize for her mean actions or behavior. Julia was truly the opposite of the pixie she was playing. At number 7, Mike Myers. Does anyone else remember the Cat in the Hat live action film from 2003 starring Mike Myers? I certainly do. It was very cringy, but in a good way, since I was a kid back then and I found everything unbelievably hilarious. I enjoyed that movie as a kid, but one person who didn't enjoy it was the Cat in the Hat himself, Mike Myers. After the success of Austin Powers, Mike was set to bump up his comedy and star in a production based on one of his old characters. But before that was all carried out, the actor and the studio got into some debates, and there was legal trouble. It was all just unnecessary drama. Well, they both ended up reaching an agreement, and it obligated Mike to star in the Cat in the Hat movie. He never wanted to sign up for that, and he really made it known how badly he didn't want to be there. According to people who worked with him on set during filming of the Cat in the Hat, Mike was very rude and dismissive, and he refused to talk to anyone. He became a hermit and a diva apparently, and this whole experience and subsequent film were all so bad that Dr. Seuss's widow said that she would never allow Hollywood to make another movie based on one of Seuss's books again. At number 6, Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts has had quite a few on-set feuds with co-stars. She's had drama with Gabri Sidibe, Ariana Grande, and Evan Peters, but the biggest feud that she's had was with Lea Michele on the set of Scream Queens. According to sources, Emma Roberts and Lea Michele had one strong attribute in common, and that was the fact that they were both divas, so while they were working together, they butt heads with each other quite often. Apparently, their fighting got so bad while filming, actress Jamie Lee Curtis had to step in and mediate the hostile situation between Emma and Lea because she was so fed up with their constant bickering while they were trying to work. It was also reported that the actresses would constantly have mean girl moments, making rude and catty comments towards each other almost daily. Rumors of this feuding between them were pretty common in entertainment news while Scream Queens was still in production, showing that things never really died down between the two actresses. It seemed like Emma just caused a heck of a lot of drama with a lot of people on set. At number 5, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf has really been going through it in Hollywood. He kind of has a bad reputation now because of the conflicts that he's been in, the latest of which got him fired from a movie. Because of his bad attitude and clashes on set, the actor was fired by Olivia Wilde from the upcoming film Don't Worry Darling. It was announced in late fall of 2020 that Harry Styles would be replacing Shia in the film, and now we know that it was due to Shia's alleged bad behavior, as people have cited that the actor was, quote, not an easy guy to work with. It was alleged that there was some kind of conflict between him and Olivia Wilde as well, and the fact that other cast and crew members didn't like working with him, Shia was let go. Getting fired is always a negative thing, but in Hollywood, when a lot of your work involves other relationships with other actors and having connections, having a bad experience that was enough to get you fired can ultimately burn that bridge and result in you having less work. At number 4, Ben Stiller. A lot of people think of Ben Stiller as this super funny guy in Hollywood, but just because someone seems great in the public eye doesn't mean that's how they really are behind closed doors. It seems as though Ben Stiller is a nightmare in disguise because he's a tough guy to work with and he causes a lot of trouble on set. People who know or have worked with Ben in the past have exposed some of his bad behavior on set, and it's kind of shocking. According to those who worked with him on the set of the film Tropic Thunder, he was very controlling and mean to just about everyone there. He even reportedly had a meltdown on set when someone brought him his Diet Coke and it didn't have exactly 2 ice cubes in it. He even had someone fired because they didn't put enough sugar in his coffee. On top of that, Ben even forced his assistant to stand out in the parking lot in his designated parking space, even though it already had a sign saying that it was reserved. And to make matters even more hectic, Ben also freaked out on a female assistant he had, going so far as to refuse to come back to set until she was replaced by a male assistant. If all of this madness happened on just one film set, who knows what other shenanigans have gone on elsewhere with him. At number 3, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is known for being in National Lampoon and the show Community, but is also known around Hollywood as being kind of a jerk and starting drama with the people that he works with. There are a bunch of articles, books, and interviews of people talking about their experiences with the actor and how mean he can be. There are even stories in the book Live from New York that detail the times Chase has been mean to staff, writers, interns, and other hosts. Will Ferrell and Bill Murray are among those who have taken a disliking to Chase because of the way that he's treated others. Will Ferrell has said that he doesn't like Chevy because of the way that he treats some female staff members, and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase even got into a brawl backstage of SNL back in the day, where they said some pretty hurtful things to each other because they were kind of comedy rivals on the show. Chevy just doesn't get along with everyone, and he said it's because his fame went to his head, but something tells me that's not the only reason why he starts drama. At number 2, Bill Murray. Bill Murray already has a pretty bad reputation in Hollywood for his poor on-set behavior, so it's no surprise to me to find out that he's had some serious drama with one of his castmates on the set of Charlie's Angels. While filming the movie, Bill Murray was said to have antagonized actress Lucy Liu. When watching the film, you'd think that they were all good friends and on good terms, but in reality, that was quite the opposite. The film set was sort of a hostile environment that caused Bill to take a disliking towards Lucy. Turns out Bill would insult Lucy's talent and acting ability, and on one occasion even said, quote, "I get why you're here, you've got talent, but what in the hell are you doing here? You can't act." Apparently the harassment and bullying got so bad at one point that Lucy tried throwing punches at Bill during one scene because his insults got so bad. This antagonizing went on for the entire duration of the production, and Bill kept on berating Lucy about her presence on set and calling her unprofessional as well. This drama was just so unnecessary. And finally, at number 1, Sharon Osbourne. Talk show host Sharon Osbourne faced a lot of backlash last year after making comments about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Sharon and her former co-host Cheryl Underwood got into a pretty heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's remarks on Meghan Markle. During this feud, Sharon backed up Piers' comments about Meghan Markle's mental health, and this really frustrated a lot of people because many felt as though what was being said was going a little too far. As a result of the remarks that Sharon made, she was called a racist, and a number of other accusations came out about how she's used various slurs in the past when talking about her other co-hosts on the show. As a result of this, the network that they worked for launched an internal investigation to look into the allegations against Sharon, and that ended with Sharon being let go from the show. At number 10, Harmony Korine. I think it's an unspoken rule that when you're a guest somewhere, you should try to be on your best behavior. One person who really should have followed this rule is director Harmony Korine, who's best known for the movie Spring Breakers. There was once a time when Harmony made a number of appearances on The Late Show with David Letterman in the mid to late 90s. This was also during a time when Harmony was reportedly on a lot of drugs. Though he was a frequent guest on the show, his appearances just stopped all of a sudden, and no one really knew why until 2013 when Letterman revealed the truth as to why the director was banned from coming on the show. Apparently, Letterman caught the director going through Meryl Streep's purse one time, and that was just the last straw for the late night host. When talking about this fateful event, Letterman said, quote, "I went upstairs to greet Meryl Streep and welcome her to the show. I knocked on the door and she was not there. I looked around and saw Harmony going through her purse. True story. And so I said, that's it, put her things back in her bag and get out." end quote. After that, Harmony was no longer welcome on the show and hasn't been back since. Before we carry on talking about these rude celebrities, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 9, Hugh Grant. Hugh was once banned from The Daily Show after having a really bad interview that really affected the show's host because the actor was being so rude. Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show, said in an interview that Hugh Grant was the absolute worst guest he'd had on the show. He spoke about how when Hugh was on to promote his film Did You Hear About the Morgans, Hugh was making a huge scene backstage and was just being really mean and annoying to the people who were working on set. Apparently, Hugh was allegedly going around saying that he had better places to be. He also got really upset about the clip that they played from the film, saying, quote, "What is that clip? It's a terrible clip," to which Jon replied, telling Hugh to make a better movie. You could really tell that Jon was fed up with Hugh and his attitude on the show. Jon went on to say that because of his poor experience with Hugh, he'd never have him back on his show. At number 8, Bobcat Goldthwait. I think this goes without saying, but don't go setting fire to things. Back in 1994, actor Bobcat Goldthwait was a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and during his guest appearance, the actor decided to just randomly set fire to his chair. At the time, Jay thought this was just a spontaneous bit, but in reality, Bobcat came prepared for this as he brought lighter fluid and a lighter that was hidden up his sleeve. Luckily, the other guest who was there that night, Lauren Hutton, was quick on her feet and doused the flames with a cup of water. Jay, understandably, was very unhappy with all this and banned Bobcat from the show. Not only that, but the actor was also charged with arson for this stunt and was ordered to pay over $3,300 in fines, some of which went towards replacing the chair he set fire to. He literally damaged the set, and if that's not rude, then I don't know what is. At number 7, Piers Morgan. I feel like when a celebrity asks for something specific, it should be given to them. I'm not talking about anything material like demanding a cup of ice chips or something. I mean a specific request in reference to the way that they're treated. For actor Kelsey Grammer, he made a very specific request when he was doing an interview with Piers Morgan, and when that request wasn't honored, there was a falling out that led to the actor being banned from the show because of the drama. When the actor made a guest appearance on Piers Morgan Tonight back in 2012, he requested that a picture of his ex-wife not be shown. He's willing to answer questions about her, but just didn't want to have a photo of her to be aired. Well, Piers didn't exactly honor that request, and when a photo of the ex-wife was shown, Kelsey stormed off set. The actor's publicist said that Piers had to take accountability for his actions because Kelsey was so mad about the situation, but instead, Piers barred the actor from his show. That was pretty rude of him. At number 6, Gene Simmons. I think we can all agree that Gene Simmons is kind of outlandish. He's a guy with a lot of energy and no filter, so when it comes to interviewing him live, you never know what he might say, but you can only hope that it won't be too offensive. At one point, the singer was a Fox favorite, making regular appearances on their programming where they would discuss hot topics in the world and would share their opinions on things. They liked the guy and liked having him on their show, but after causing a stir during a meeting at Fox and making some rude comments towards some of the other staff members, Gene got banned for life, and it was a hot topic of its own. Some of the things that Gene said to some of the women at the network got leaked, and it's not something you would want to have said to you. Let's just put it that way. After all of that went down, the singer was not welcomed back on their programming because they didn't like the way he behaved. At number 5, Sharon Osbourne. Talk show host Sharon Osbourne found herself in some hot water earlier last year after she made some comments about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry that not only caused her to get backlash, but also lose a friend. Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood got into a heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's comments about Meghan Markle. During this feud, Sharon backed up Pierce's comments about Meghan Markle's mental health, and this frustrated Cheryl because she didn't like the comments that were being made about those involved. The two got into a very heated debate that ended with a lot of drama, sparking a conversation about Sharon's ideals. She was called a racist, and a number of other accusations came out about how she's used various slurs in the past when talking about her other co-hosts. As a result of this, the network for their show launched an internal investigation, and that ended with Sharon being let go from the show. At number 4, Kelly Osbourne. Now, we just talked about Sharon Osbourne and her talk show scandal, but her daughter Kelly has also been in her share of controversies, including one that happened while on a talk show that kind of ruined her career because of a rude comment that she made. During an episode of The View, Kelly Osbourne really missed the mark when trying to clap back at Donald Trump, even though she was trying to diss Trump, and ended up getting in enough trouble herself. Just shortly before this episode aired, Donald Trump, who was at the time only a presidential nominee, was saying offensive things about the Latinx community and how he wanted to deport them. I'm sure we're all familiar with this one. Well, in a very poor attempt at clapping back at Trump's racist comments, Kelly said, quote, "If you kick every Latina out of this country, then who's going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?" What Kelly was trying to do was defend the Latinx community, but rather than stand up for them, she ended up offending them even more, as her remarks were interpreted as saying that the Latinx community is only good for being housekeepers, as depicted in many racial stereotypes. After facing so much backlash and realizing the gravity of her words, Kelly issued an apology saying, quote, "I want to start by saying I always take responsibility for my actions. In this particular case, I will take responsibility for my poor choice of words, but I will not apologize for being a racist, as I am not." At number 3, James Corden. Recently, TV host James Corden found himself in some trouble with fans after his Spill Your Guts segment of his show started facing backlash. Fans were calling for James to take accountability after he made some comments about some Asian foods that he had on the show that some fans thought were offensive. Because the foods that they use in the Spill Your Guts segment are supposed to be ones that you wouldn't eat, the fact that some Asian foods like balut were used and called, quote, "disgusting," made a lot of people take to the internet to call for accountability and an apology from James Corden. Apparently, James had been making these types of comments about a lot of different Asian dishes on a few occasions, so some people have said enough is enough and even created a petition calling for the removal of the Spill Your Guts segment. At number 2, Mark Summers. When it comes to talk shows, sometimes you can never predict what's gonna happen. These shows are often used to catch up with a celebrity and just talk about life and whatnot, but sometimes these conversations can turn into brawls when the wrong thing is said, and this is pretty much what happened between Burt Reynolds and Mark Summers in 1994 when they were both guests on Jay Leno's talk show. The two men got into a heated brawl after some jokes were made that offended the both of them. Essentially, Mark Summers made a comment about how he was still married, while Burt at the time was going through a divorce, and it made Burt pretty upset. In retaliation, Burt threw some water at Mark, and that's what sparked the fight. It gets to the point where Jay Leno just can't keep the show together because his guests were fighting so much, and producers even went so far as to bring out pies for Mark and Burt to make it look like this fight was staged. After this, people got talking, and some people came to the conclusion that this brawl was uncalled for, and since Mark started it, he felt the most backlash. And finally, at number 1, Ellen. In late 2019, actress Dakota Johnson sat down for an interview with Ellen, and some people see this interview as the one that started this whole Ellen is mean scandal because of how rude Ellen was. During the interview, Ellen berated Dakota about the fact that she wasn't invited to Dakota's birthday party. People saw this whole debate as incredibly unnecessary, but the part that people loved the most was how Dakota shut Ellen down. When Ellen said that she was mad for not being invited to Dakota's birthday party, Dakota in response said, quote, "Actually no, that's not the truth, Ellen, you were invited. No, last time when I was on the show last year, you gave me a bunch of crap about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited," end quote. Dakota was even backed up by one of the show's producers who reassured Ellen that she was invited and that she just didn't show up because at the time, she claimed that Dakota's Malibu party was, quote, "a little too far for her." Dakota shutting Ellen down and not being made to look like the bad guy Ellen intended was great for fans, and following Ellen's cancellation, fans started to realize just how rude Ellen was.
Coming in number 10 today, we have Will Smith. If you're a fan of the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, then you know that Janet Hubert, who played the beloved character Aunt Viv, mysteriously vanished from the show at the end of season 3. And then in an interview with Atlanta radio station in 1993, Will Smith would try to call out his co-star by saying, "I can't say straight up that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show, because I know she's going to dog me in the press. She has basically gone from $250,000 a year to nothing. She's mad now, but she's been mad all along. She said once, I've been in the business for 10 years and this snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets a show. No matter what, to her, I'm just the Antichrist." Then later, Janet would come out to criticize the show, and she would express her dislike for Will Smith by explaining how difficult he is to work with on set, and she even swore that she would never appear in a reunion episode when she said there will never be a reunion with an a-hole like Will Smith. He is still an egomaniac and he has not grown up. This constant reunion thing will never happen in my lifetime unless there is an apology, which he doesn't know the word for. Number 9, Emma Roberts. Back in 2013, Star Magazine would report that Emma Roberts was a nightmare to work with on the set of the show American Horror Story. Emma, who played a movie star named Madison on the program, allegedly on season 3, the star's behavior has become so intolerable that her co-star and actress Gabourey Sidibe, who played Queenie, called Roberts out for her odd behavior by telling the actress to cut her attitude and stop being rude. An insider would then also tell the magazine that Emma's behavior was so bad, she even started to act like she was above everyone else on the set, and the magazine would also state that the feud between the two actresses erupted due to Emma's diva-like behavior on the set, as Emma was complaining about the tiniest things and she even refused to speak to certain crew members. While it seems like Emma was on the outs with one of her co-stars and some of the crew members, she was getting along well with the creator, writer, and producer Ryan Murphy. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Millie Bobby Brown. Back in July, Millie Bobby Brown started to make headlines everywhere after she decided to diss the Stranger Things writers in an interview with The Wrap. In the interview, Millie would discuss her interests in some of the gruesome changes occurring within the Stranger Things universe. One particular change would involve the show's creators getting rid of main characters by making them pass away, as Millie believes the cast of the characters has grown too much throughout the run of the series. And when she was looking around at the 4th season's premiere, she noted she didn't realize how large the cast had gotten. She also added that she thinks the show's creators are too sensitive to get rid of characters before she stated, "We need to have a mindset of Game of Thrones. Kill me off. They tried killing David off, and then they brought him back." The Duffer Brothers then responded to Millie's statement of calling them sensitive Sallys by saying that she was hilarious, before adding that they explored all options in the writing room and they don't want to make their show depressing. Number 7, Johnny Depp. After Amber Heard destroyed Johnny Depp's career after he won his life back in 2022, you would think the actor would be on his best behavior. However, before his trial, there has been reports that Johnny had really odd behavior on set. And back in December, it would be reported that during the filming of Jean de Barry, where he plays Louis XV, Depp was extremely rude towards the director and co-star Maïwenn Lebasco. And actor Bernard Montiel would be the one to disclose the rumors during a French talk show called Don't Touch My TV Set back in October. The actor would reveal that Johnny and the director clashed throughout the entire set, and that Johnny had been reportedly falling back into his old habits by saying, "I've heard some noise from the shoot, very serious stuff." So Depp is an excellent actor when he comes on set, except sometimes at 6 in the morning the crew is ready and nobody turns up. So of course Maïwenn, who is the director, gets angry, and the next day she's the one who doesn't turn up. And then you got Johnny and she's not there. It's finished over this week, but it's going very, very badly. They don't get along at all and they're screaming at each other the whole time. Number 6, Amber Heard. It's clear that the word celebrity has definitely gotten to Amber Heard's head, because while she was in the UK filming the scene for a crime thriller called London Fields, it said that the actor threw a huge tantrum on the set that brought the production to a temporary standstill. A source would then tell the Daily Mail that there were some people watching the shoot outside. Then Amber came out to film and the actress got visibly upset about the onlookers, particularly at an individual who was watching. The source then said right in the middle of the scene, she stopped and said, "How am I supposed to do this when all I can see is that guy in my eye line?" Then after Amber was done throwing her tantrum, the crew was forced to set up a screen so Amber could film her scene without any distractions. Number 5, Shia LaBeouf. So we all heard the rumors about Shia LaBeouf's behavior on the set of Don't Worry Darling, while Olivia Wilde has claimed that Shia was making Florence Pugh feel uncomfortable while they were filming scenes due to his odd behavior on set. Shia would quickly deny Olivia's claims and say that he actually quit the film, which would cause Olivia to come out and double down on her claims that she fired him by saying, "My responsibility was towards her. I'm like a mother wolf. Making the call was tricky, but in a way, he understood. I don't think it would have been a process he enjoyed. He comes to his work with intensity that can be combative." While Olivia went on to note that she would love to see Shia evolve, she would also say that Shia is a great loss to the film industry because he's so incredibly talented talented and he's unable to work due to his poor behavior. Later, Olivia would even address Shia's behavior by saying, "He has a process in some ways, seems to require combative energy, and I don't personally believe that it is conductive to the best performances." Number 4, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase used to be one of the busiest and best loved comedy actors around. However, somewhere along the lines, the tides would turn after he burned multiple bridges and became difficult and combative to work with. While Chase is known for being portrayed as a nice guy, behind the scenes, Chase has a reputation as being one of the least pleasant men in Hollywood to work with. The problem, according to his peers, is that Chase is very difficult to be around because you don't know what to expect when it comes to the star's actions. When the star decided to return to SNL after leaving, he ruffled everyone's feathers in the process. What made matters worse is that the actor even directed his brand of cruel humor at Terry Sweeney, who was SNL's first openly gay casted member, and by all accounts, Chase threw a slew of homophobic jokes surrounding Terry. Then after Chase was forced to apologize to Sweeney, Terry would say, "He was really furious that he had to apologize to me, and it was just awful. He acted horrible to me. He acted horribly to everyone." And while many fans and crew members and co-stars have called out the actor on his poor behavior, it's clear that the actor doesn't even care, and he's even stated so. Number 3, Cameron Diaz. While Cameron Diaz became a rising star thanks to her role in the film Charlie's Angels, the star's air-rising antics have cemented a reputation of the actress as being a spoiled star. While Cameron was working on the film Sweetest Thing, a source would claim that Cameron became so demanding that she needed her underarm shaved, and she even had her personal assistant do it, when they said she noticed between takes that she had some underarm stubble. Instead of going back to her trailer, to shave it herself, she lifts her arms high in the air and made her assistant do the demanding task right there in front of 200 extras. The source would then even claim that while filming, the actor messed up an easy line in a script 20 times just because she didn't like the scene. And after she kicked up a fuss to the director, she was able to get the line changed, and then she bragged to her co-stars on set that she knew the director would do it her way. Number 2, Joaquin Phoenix. When Joaquin Phoenix made an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, things would get incredibly awkward after Joaquin talked about how much fun he had on the set. Jimmy then decided to surprise the actor with a blooper that was sent over by director Todd Phillips that would show that the film was everything but a good time. In the video, it would show Joaquin cursing out the Joker cinematographer Lauren Cher while trying to film a scene. In the video, you would see Joaquin saying, "Just the constant whisper. Just shut the F up, dude. I know you started the effing Cher thing. Larry, you think it's so effing funny making fun of me. I'm an effing diva. It's not even an insult. Cher, really? She's a single actor, dance, fashion icon. How is that an effing insult? I can't do this, man." The actor was then visibly shaken by seeing the footage broadcasted on national TV, and it's clear that he thought he would get away with his poor behavior, but then he got called out by Jimmy Kimmel. Joaquin would then note that he was embarrassed by his actions, and sometimes movies get intense because you're a lot of people in a small place trying to find something so it can feel intense. And coming in number 1 today, we have Lindsay Lohan. When Lindsay Lohan was working on the set of Glee, her second day on the set wouldn't go down as the star's finest hour. Sources on the set would then give E! News exclusive details about Lindsay's guest appearance, which would include the actress being incredibly late to the set, and the production even had to send out a car to pick her up and bring her to the set. A source would then even say Lindsay was a total nightmare yesterday, as she was 3 hours late in the morning, and when she did finally arrive, she didn't want to be there, she did not want to work, and she had not memorized her lines, and she kept disappearing so no one could find her. E! News would also then claim that the crew members on the set were so less than thrilled by Lindsay's antics that they even gave her the nickname of that girl, for adding that she rubbed them all up the wrong way by being disrespectful to everyone else's schedules.
At number 10, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey isn't the nicest person ever. She's had several run-ins with the paparazzi, which have not gone over well. She's had some pretty bad relationships with others, and she's known for being a complete and utter diva. But there's one incident in particular that really just exposes how mean Mariah can be. There was a lawsuit from one of Mariah's former assistants which accused her of a number of horrible things. The former assistant alleged that the singer peed on her, ridiculed her body, and called her a handful of pretty rude names. Her former assistant said that she was hired by the singer to be on call 24/7 and assisted both Mariah and her manager at the time. Though she was paid a salary of $250,000 a year, this wage couldn't cover up the horrible things that she was put through by Mariah. But her case wasn't the only one up against the singer at the time. While this case was being disputed, Mariah had just settled one with her former manager who cited breach of contract, harassment, and unpaid wages. Just because you pay people a lot of money doesn't mean you get to treat them like trash. Now before I carry on with the list, I would like to take a moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, because your likes really help to support the channel and we love to see it. At number 9, Jennifer Lopez. This probably doesn't come as a shock to many, but it turns out that J-Lo isn't very nice. A lot of people have said that she's a real diva, and others say that she's just plain rude, and she's done a number of things that have rubbed people the wrong way. Apparently the singer/actress is very picky about who may or may not speak to her, and for those permitted to address her, they're not allowed to make eye contact. There have even been reports that she flat out refuses to comply with scripts. This has happened on a few occasions, most notably during filming for a Fiat commercial where they needed to hire a double for Jennifer simply because she just didn't want to do certain things for the shoot. On top of that, she doesn't have a good reputation with a lot of people who's worked with her either. She's said to have completely ignored the people who are remodeling her house. She's gotten a cleaning lady fired for having asked for an autograph, and she even refuses to talk to in-flight staff and pilots on flights and instructs her assistant to talk to them for her. And to make matters worse, even though her staff do so much for her, including communicating for her, they don't get paid very much for their time. Even though she may seem super cool on the surface, she's a little sour in real life. At number 8, Gwyneth Paltrow. A lot of people seem to really dislike Gwyneth Paltrow for some reason. Though she's never really done anything horrible to people directly, it is alleged that she's so disliked in Hollywood because she comes off as pretty pretentious, egotistical, and privileged. People don't really see Gwyneth as the average person or as someone that they can relate to, which a lot of people seem to find off-putting. The Goop founder seems to like flaunting her wealth and materialistic things and makes it seem like it's something that everyone else has or can afford. For example, her Goop website's list of must-have clothing pieces and other things include things that cost hundreds if not thousands of dollars, which not a lot of people can relate to having. On top of that, she came from a wealthy family, so being someone who's always been rich, she doesn't really know how to humble herself around those who haven't been as fortunate as her. People also don't like how she comes across as self-centered, as she seems to always talk about herself and how fit she is and how great her lifestyle is. She also has a diva attitude. She's been known to slam Michelin star restaurants, and if you know what that means, then you know she's got an attitude to do something like that. And to make matters worse, she's been known to demand that people clean and dry the shower at the gym after someone's used it because she, quote, can't touch somebody else's shower water. Yeah. She just has a lot of diva energy and can come across as quite rude, so I can understand why not everyone wants to be her friend. At number 7, James Corden. A lot of people don't like James Corden. Celebrities and regular old Joes like you and me just can't seem to get along with the late night host, and there's a few reasons for this. Turns out that he's actually pretty mean in real life, and this persona that you see on TV is all just an elaborate ruse. In reality, James is arrogant, rude, and a huge diva. There are a bunch of stories that paint James as a mean person. Firstly, he was once part of a group of people who advocated for paying late night writers less money. Yeah, you heard that right. He's also been known to use a good old "do you know who I am" line quite a number of times, and he's even reportedly told someone that he could buy them if they didn't do what he wanted. There's a lot of problematic energy to unpack there, but that is a whole other video. On top of that, there's been incidents of fans catching James being mean to his wife and letting his temper get the best of him at times. A lot of people say that he only acts nice in order to butt kiss his way to the top, and he doesn't care who he takes down in the process. But I think people are starting to catch on to this ruse because more and more people are starting to dislike him. Just ask Twitter. At number 6, Amy Schumer. It seems like Amy Schumer doesn't really care about what people think of her. In a way, that can be a good thing because you learn to live your life for yourself, but it can also give you an attitude and prevent you from thinking about your actions and how they can impact others. An example of this comes from an incident from back in 2018 where Amy full-on stole a comedian's stand-up set. Amy was at a comedy club and up on stage, and an up-and-coming comedian was doing one of his first long sets, and obviously this was a pretty big deal for the guy until Amy ruined it. She walked into the venue and went to the manager to ask if she could steal 10 minutes of stage time because she wanted to practice her new set. Because the other comedian just started on stage, the manager said no, so Amy hit back with the, "But I'm Amy Schumer." Like that's really gonna do something. After getting refusals left and right, she decided to take matters into her own hands and marched up on the stage and just took over his time for a few minutes. I know Amy is a big timer, but come on, you have to remember what it was like to be up and coming, and that kind of behavior is just rude. At number 5, Katherine Heigl. A lot of people don't like Katherine Heigl because of how rude she is. She's known in the film industry for being pretty mean and having a diva attitude. She's allegedly mean to people on set, has high demands, and just has a very bad overall attitude. She's known to be quite critical of her roles and the material that she's given to work with, and she even said this when she withdrew from the Emmy nominations because she said that the material she was given for Grey's Anatomy didn't warrant an Emmy. That is certainly disrespectful to the writers, because for someone to say something like that implies that the writing wasn't good enough to please people, whereas the people at the Emmys thought it was worth an award. And on top of that, winning this kind of award looks good for the team, but Katherine obviously didn't think of that. She only thought about herself. The actress is known to make ridiculously high salary demands, and she's apparently been doing this since before she became a big name in the industry. She's reportedly hired and fired a lot of publicists and assistants over the years, so she really sounds like quite the diva and a horrible boss too. Because of all this, directors and Hollywood execs just don't want to work with her anymore, and honestly, I can't really say that I blame them. At number 4, Michael Phelps. Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps is often referred to as the best swimmer of all time, but it seems like his aquatic skills are really the only thing he's got going for him, since apparently he's got a pretty bad attitude and is pretty rude in real life. Michael has done some bad stuff in his life, so people already don't think that highly of him as an individual. Back in 2014, he was arrested for driving under the influence, and speaking of under the influence, Phelps has also been caught with drugs before. Already, this isn't good for his image because being an Olympian, people have a lot of eyes on you. Phelps was reprimanded for his drunk driving and was suspended from swimming for 6 months, but other than that, this scandal was kept pretty under wraps. Now if only they could have put that much energy into Sha'Carri Richardson. On top of this swimmer being a felon, he's also known to not be a team player. Apparently he hides himself away from his other teammates when at competitions like the Olympics instead of being with his team to support them. You would think that being at something like the Olympics, you would want to soak up all that team spirit, but no. Michael wants nothing to do with his team and instead flies solo. Kind of mean if you ask me. At number 3, Jared Leto. You may like Jared Leto on screen, but off screen he's kind of a jerk. There's even a list online that tallies up all the reasons that make him a bad person. And if something like that exists, then you know something's up. Some of the reasons listed as to why Jared sucks so much include the fact that he's been caught being mean to fans, he's rude to reporters during interviews, and he's offended the trans community after winning an Oscar for his performance in Dallas Buyers Club and not mentioning the trans community in his speech, as well as undermining the struggles of the trans community after joking about his appearance in character. Jared has also admitted to lying during interviews whenever possible for absolutely no reason, and people found his Joker antics on the set of Suicide Squad to be a little mean because of the pranks that he would play on people as well as the gifts that he would send to the cast and crew. Most of the allegations against Jared and his attitude are pretty minor, but add them all up and you get someone that you might not necessarily enjoy having around. But what do you guys think? You still want to be his friend? At number 2, Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera may have the voice of an angel, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she is one. Turns out she has a bit of a dark side, and a handful of people have experienced it. Other than being shady at Lady Gaga during their 2008 feud, where she called her some unpleasant names and said, quote, "I'm not quite sure who this person is, to be honest, I don't know if it's a man or a woman," end quote. She's also had some other rude encounters with more of her peers. When working on the set of her various gigs, she's reportedly always late, holds up production, and never apologizes for delaying production. She also reportedly has some beef with Adam Levine while working on The Voice, and they would bicker constantly. Christina is also known to be an absolute diva, and working with her seems to be a nightmare because sources say that she's very rude and demanding of her household staff and treats her staff poorly, insisting that they are on call 24/7. Christina also has had feuds with Pink, Mariah Carey, and even got mad at Mickey Mouse once. Yeah, she got into a heated argument with Mickey Mouse when she was at Disneyland in 2014 for her birthday. She wanted to take a picture with the mouse, but he was going on break, so instead of being an understanding person, she pulled the "Do you know who I am" card. I mean, how can you do that to Mickey? What did Mickey do? And finally, at number 1, Bruce Willis. Actor Bruce Willis has had a great career making great movies and basking in fame, But it seems as though he's not all that great in real life. Apparently, Bruce is a nightmare to work with, as he's gotten into a number of conflicts with others on set, and people just really hate working with him. Before Die Hard launched his film career, he was brought into stardom after working on the show Mood Lighting alongside his co-star Sybil Shepherd. Back in 2005, Shepherd told sources that there came a point where her relationship with Bruce became really toxic and they clashed a lot on set. There was reportedly constant bickering and it was just a really bad working environment. But of course, Sybil isn't the only one to have clashed with Bruce while working together. Filmmaker Kevin Smith has also had his troubles working with Bruce while filming the 2010 film Cop Out. He told sources that though he once saw Bruce as his hero in past productions, that opinion completely went out the window, saying that working with Bruce was difficult. When speaking out about their time together on set, Kevin said, quote, "He turned out to be the unhappiest, most bitter, and meanest emo B-word I've ever met at any job I've held down, and mind you, I worked at Domino's Pizza. What an awful experience." End quote. Now I just wonder if something triggers this horrible behavior or if he's just always like this.